Hi, this is the summary of the book 168 Hours by Laura Vanderkam, Part 4. Laura Vanderkam digs deeper into the emotional and psychological dimensions of time management. While previous sections focused heavily on structure, tracking, and scheduling, here she acknowledges that behavior change isn't just a matter of logistics, it's about belief systems, self-awareness, and often overcoming guilt, fear, or outdated narratives. Many of us cling to time-related habits because they're familiar, even if they don't serve us anymore. To truly make changes that stick, Vanderkam explains, we need to examine not only how we spend our time, but why. One barrier she explores is identity conflict, the disconnect between who we believe we are and how we want to use our time. For example, someone who identifies as a dedicated professional might resist taking time off or setting work boundaries because doing so feels like a betrayal of that self-image. A selfless parent might resist scheduling personal time, equating it with selfishness. Vanderkam encourages readers to rewrite these narratives by embracing a more nuanced self-concept, one where it's possible to be a high performer and also deeply invested in personal wellness or creative fulfillment. She suggests people define themselves more holistically, not just by their job titles or roles, but by their values and passions. This psychological reframing is critical to unlocking time for what matters most. One exercise Vanderkam offers is to imagine your ideal future self 5 to 10 years from now. What does that version of you look like? What are they doing? How do they feel? What have they achieved? Then ask, are your current 168 hours each week moving you closer to or further away from that vision? This practice brings long-term clarity to the present moment and can help break cycles of procrastination or unexamined busyness. A significant focus in this section is on the joy of the present moment. While much of the book is about planning and optimizing the future, Vanderkam argues that the goal isn't efficiency for efficiency's sake, it's to create space to actually live. She notes that for many people, time feels fast because they're always rushing or distracted. Paradoxically, the more we pack in, the more time seems to slip away unnoticed. She references research on memory and experience to suggest that we can make time feel fuller by increasing novelty, engagement, and intentional attention. In other words, slow down occasionally and savor. To put this into practice, Vanderkam suggests building in memory-making moments during each week. These might be small rituals, new experiences, or even just noticing beauty or joy in ordinary tasks. A Wednesday night dinner with friends, a walk at a new park, reading to your child without looking at your phone. All of these experiences, while short, become psychological anchors that make a week feel rich and meaningful. Without them, even a productive week can feel bland and quickly forgotten. She also revisits the notion of effortful fun, expanding on how we often miss out on deeply satisfying leisure because we're too exhausted or unprepared. Watching TV every night may seem like relaxation, but it often leads to less satisfaction than, say, rehearsing with a community choir or playing board games with family. The key, Vanderkam says, is to make effortful fun easy to access. That means doing the prep work in advance, buying supplies, scheduling the time, making commitments with others, so that when the moment comes, the path of least resistance leads you to something joyful and meaningful. Another important concept Vanderkam returns to is control over one's time. She draws a strong distinction between real-time scarcity and perceived time scarcity. Often, the feeling of being overwhelmed doesn't come from lack of time, but from a lack of autonomy. When our schedules are dictated entirely by others, bosses, clients, children, social obligations, it's easy to feel powerless. Vanderkam emphasizes reclaiming even small parts of the day for intentional choice. 10 minutes in the morning to stretch or meditate, a midday walk, or even a lunch eaten without distractions can become acts of self-direction that shift the entire tone of the day. At work, this translates into time leadership, a concept Vanderkam discusses in detail. She argues that managing your time is a leadership skill, not just a personal productivity tool. Great leaders, she says, are those who allocate their attention and hours in ways that move the organization forward while also protecting their own energy and focus. She cites several examples of executives who create focus zones during the day, blocks of time that are sacrosanct for thinking, strategy, or creative problem-solving. These people understand that responding to emails all day might make them look busy, but it doesn't drive real value. Vanderkam also explores how to use templates and rhythms to streamline recurring tasks. For instance, a family might set weekly meal themes, Pasta Monday, Taco Tuesday, etc., to reduce decision fatigue. A professional might establish a content creation calendar that repeats every month. A household might have designated chore times or planning sessions that happen on the same day each week. The idea isn't rigidity, but predictability. These kinds of time templates reduce chaos and free up mental space for more meaningful work and rest. She addresses a common pitfall in time management, the aspirational calendar trap. This is when people plan their time according to who they wish they were, rather than who they actually are. They might schedule 4 gym sessions a week when they haven't worked out in months, or plan 2 hours a day for writing when their energy and availability don't support it. The result is disappointment, frustration, and eventually abandonment of the system. Vanderkam instead suggests starting from reality and then gradually building the habits and structures that support your goals. Small, consistent steps are more sustainable and ultimately more transformative. In the realm of relationships, Vanderkam makes a compelling case for quality over quantity, though she also pushes back against the myth that we don't have enough time for others. She shares time log examples from people who, despite working full-time jobs and raising children, still spend significant weekly hours in deep connection with friends, partners, and family. The key? Intentional time protection. Whether it's a date night, Sunday family dinner, or a standing friend phone call, these moments don't just happen. They're defended against encroachment. She also stresses the importance of shared values and delegation in relationships. In dual-career households, Vanderkam emphasizes the need for honest conversations about time use, responsibility, and life design. Too often, one partner ends up shouldering the majority of invisible labor because the couple never discusses alternative arrangements. Vanderkam encourages co-creating a weekly schedule that works for everyone, not based on societal expectations, but on mutual respect and practical strengths. A particularly empowering part of the book is Vanderkam's treatment of non-traditional work structures. She presents examples of people who work part-time, freelance, job share, or use remote flexibility to design their weeks around their life priorities. These stories are meant to break the 9-to-5 or bust paradigm and show that professional success doesn't have to come at the expense of a well-rounded life. What matters, she says, is results, not hours logged. As more people explore flexible work, the possibilities for time design expand dramatically. Toward the end of this section, Vanderkam explores the role of rest and doing nothing, activities that modern life often undervalues. She references research showing that the brain needs downtime not just to recover, but to consolidate ideas, generate creativity, and regulate emotions. She encourages readers to actively schedule unscheduled time, periods with no agenda, no screens, no productivity goals. This isn't laziness, it's renewal. Just as muscles grow during rest periods, so too does mental performance flourish in quiet, unstructured space. She offers the analogy of time as a mosaic, each piece representing a small block of hours arranged in a pattern. When we step back and look at the whole, the question is not how many pieces are filled, but what kind of image they create. A mosaic full of productivity, but no joy might be impressive, but not beautiful. One with only leisure and no contribution might feel hollow. The goal, Vanderkam writes, is to create a picture that's rich, colorful, and authentic to you. In wrapping up this section, she reasserts the core principle of the book. You have more time than you think. This isn't just a motivational phrase. It's a measurable, trackable, actionable truth. By identifying priorities, reducing distractions, rethinking defaults, and designing time proactively, it's entirely possible to transform even the most hectic life into one that feels spacious, meaningful, and whole. Thank you for listening. Please stay tuned for next upcoming part of this book.